Here to continue the chapter, it talks about demographics, the new workforce. Here it talks about the myths about older workers. What do you guys think of older workers? Are they better or worse?
Better, much better.
Let's see. Here it says, some people think that older people are less productive. And that's not true. According to research they made, that older people are not always less productive. Are older people incur higher benefit costs? That's not true. Do they have a higher absenteeism? No. Did you guys watch the movie The Intern?
Yes, I watched that.
Did you watch that?
So nice.
Yeah, it proved all of this is not true, right?
And even in our daily life.
And in your daily life, you can see that.
What do you mean about
My manager is 78, and he's very active.
people? You mean in the
Older people are aged.
in the current generation, not
Yes.
in the older.
No. Today, if you go to a work, you have an older person. Are they? Do they have more accident at work?
No?
Actually, not. Are they less willing to learn?
Zero level mistakes level.
Okay,
Very
mistake
accurate,
level. There
very
are
contextual.
great. Are they inflexible about hours they are willing to work?
They're the first one to come.
They're more interested.
First people who come. The first one to
They're the first people who come to the work. And are they flexible or they're not flexible? They are flexible with the work. So here it talks about these demographics. And then here in this slide, it kind of show you about, this is the U.S., how many white they have, black, Asians, other racial groups, Hispanic. So if you do this for Yemen, what will you have? They're all one nation? All the people the same, or you can group them?
We have difference.
We have refugees,
Yeah, we have refugees, we have Vietnamese,
we have Vietnamese,
Palestinians,
we
Syrians,
have Palestinians,
Iraqis.
Syrians,
We have-
Iraqis, marginalized people.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, Yemen is not a cosmopolitan.
It's not a cosmopolitan. Okay. All right. Maybe it's not more of an ethnic racial. Maybe we have other types of composition.
We have the same language.
All same language, same.
Not everybody has the same language.
Not everyone has the same language. We have different accents, maybe dialects.
The dialect, but even the
Yeah, we have.
Ethiopian and Somalian, they have different.
Okay. We also have some other languages. People coming from a Somali, Ethiopian origin. Mahara Suqatra. All right, we've got a changing workforce in terms of age groups. What do you guys think? How does it look in Yemen? Do we have more on this age group and maybe less in those groups? Okay. Nagging inequalities in the workplace. It says the glass ceiling. What is a glass ceiling? Glass ceiling is women continue to experience significant gender wage gap and strong barriers to advancement. How many people agree? Women are demanding more equality, compensation, and workplace opportunities. You think that's true? Do we have a gender wage differences? So two people, they do exactly the same job, one male and one female. Do the male get higher or the same? Same? Okay. In all workplaces?
But women are more privileged.
But maybe women have more privileges sometimes, and maybe they have less opportunities for higher positions.
Yeah.
Many women are leaving the corporate rank to start their own businesses. What do you guys think? Do we have more women going into the business world or less?
The opposite thing. I think the man is interested to leave the work to have their own business.
Yeah, but who if you look at
I
percentage-wise,
think for the woman, they are satisfied enough.
women just finding jobs. Continuing pressure for equal opportunities, women, minorities, physically challenged. What about physically challenged? Do they have an opportunity in this country or no? Are they expected to press harder for more employment opportunities? Okay.
In terms of technology, I think women can have more opportunity.
There are some jobs that women have better opportunities in.
Yeah, but
Okay.
for the harder jobs.
Managing diversity is the process of creating organizational culture that provide all employment, including women, minority, assistant to opportunities to help them realize their full potential. What's the key word?
Keyword what?
What's the key word in this paragraph?
Creating.
Full potential.
Provide minorities.
Full potential.
Managing diversity.
Okay. More than the EEO. Do you know what's an EEO? Equal Opportunity Employer. It says here the moral necessarily and commitment is going beyond equal opportunity and affirmative action to create flexible organizations that encompass and value diversity. The idea is there are some by law you have to have 30% females maybe, or by law you have to have 10% minorities. But now the notion is more than by law, rather the company itself and the culture, and we would like to have females in the workplace or minority or diverse workforce. So that's regarding social issue, and now we move to the second section of this chapter, which is the political legal. Political legal, it says politics is the art or science of public influence or control. And now we have this concept of politicization of management. What does that mean? We have two issues here. Number one is issue management. Number two is general political response. Issue management is an ongoing process of identifying, evaluating, and responding to important social political issues, and the purpose is to minimize surprises and to make more systematic and effective response to issues. So basically it says if you're a manager, you want to watch out what is going to come to identify and evaluate any important social political activity. Do you see? So if you're a manager, you want to watch out what's going on in the society. What sort of a political outcome that may come. For example, and especially here in Yemen, we have a very high change in political systems, right? If you see 2010, 2012, 2013, 14, and now 15. So there's a big changes in the social and political issues in the country. Drastic, right? So for any business under the topic of issue management, you always want to identify and evaluate what's coming, and then based on that you make your plans. Okay? And the general political response, people defend the status quo. Do you guys know what's the status quo? What's the status quo? The status quo is when you like it the way it is. Remember water? When it's in status quo, and then if there is like a small stone on it, it will start to change, right? So the status quo, how people try to defend the status quo. We want to stay the way we are. But of course, I think now many of you now, managers who operate today, they're already used to the big changes, right? And so some companies who adapted wait and see what happened to them. They realized you can't wait and see. So maybe you want to be proactive, whether in what you do in your business or how you respond to the political changes. And we have proactively trying to identify and respond to issues. And we talked about al-Mara'i, right? So for you as al-Baqari manager, what would you do? Now, according to the book, we've got here 3 types of things you can do. Number 1 is to be a reactive. 2, be a neutral, which is watch and see and wait. Or you become a proactive. And proactive, that's when you improve performance to avoid any political attacks and government interventions. Okay? So, reactive, you try to wait until it's too late, or maybe you defend the status quo activity to fight government interventions. So, for example, al-Mara'i was very proactive. They went prepared, improved their performance, and they are now avoiding any political attacks or government intervention. You see, going on an attack. And it's against maybe how the government operates. Maybe those people who did not respond, they were more on reactive. They decide to defend the status quo. Or maybe people, they will just watch and wait. Maybe Amro action was proactive. Government says do this, yeah, just go do it. Okay, no need for resistance. Okay, some people say we have a high tax, like a sales tax. They maybe want to be reactive. They will defend the status quo. No, we don't want that. They send lawyers to. And some people, they just wait. They didn't do anything. Just wait and watch. Now, this is a continuum, but this is like a general reaction. But maybe we can look into specific political strategies. And the book talks about 4 political strategies. Number 1, you can do campaign financing, like what we talked about. You go, you support Republicans because they think they will support your cause, and that would be financing their campaigns. So they become in office, and their office, they serve or they align with, your future plans. Maybe you want to do lobbying. Do you guys know what's lobbying? Lobbying is when you go and you talk to the decision makers. So you talk to the government legislators. If it's a Majlis al-Mahalli decision, talk to them. If it's a governorate or a state, you talk to the... If it's a federal government, you talk to the... Yeah, that's when you have lobbyists, right? So this is what happens. You go and... Now, do you guys know what's the lobby? How many people don't know what's lobbying? Now, in the U.S., they have do you guys know the hotel lobby? In the Congress or in the many government offices, they have a lobby. And this lobby where all of the people who make the decisions will be there, between breaks or during, before meetings. So they allow lobbyists or some people to be there, and they can talk to those people who are decision makers. So if you're a lobbyist and you're against this new vegetable fat, animal fat in dairy products, then you will go to the lobby, you talk to the lobbyist, say, look, this new regulations you want to implement is not going to help. Because this, because that. So basically it's a chance for the businesses to talk to the decision makers in the government and tell them, explain to them why this is good or why this is not good. Do you see? So that's how they influence government regulators. And then we have coalition building. And coalition building means that you build a coalition. You Al-Baqari, you don't like this new regulations? Hey, talk to Akhwan Thabit, talk to Haniya people, talk to Yamani people, and let's get together and let's meet and let's agree on one agenda and we go to the government. Go to association. جمعية البنوك اليمنية, Yemen Bankers Association. They get together, hey, say, Central Bank of Yemen, this rule cannot be implemented because of the following. 1, 2, 3. And we suggest 1, 2, 3. Do you see? And then we have indirect lobbying, and that's when you start to do advocacy. You hire media people, journalists, media channels, you go and you talk. This new law is not going to help the people. The people of Yemen deserve better. The milk is very expensive already, 40 riyal per kid. Yemeni children, 50% of them lack nutrition. And if we start to implement this new animal fat in our milk, it's going to make the price of this 40 riyal to jump to 60 riyal. And this 60 riyal is going to damage 40% of our population. And you have a lot of, writers and advocacy and advertising that, this is not going to help, trying to put pressure on the government regulations. Okay. Now, for this fat, it didn't reach this level. But in the Yemen tax, sales tax, it reached this level and more. Next, we have here increased personal legal accountability. Anyone have heard of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act 2002? Anyone? No? Okay. Now this was in 2001. There was this big scandals. Anyone have heard of the Enron scandal, the oil company that went bankrupt in 2 nights? Anyone remember? No, this is worldwide. Anyone heard of Arthur Andersen, big accounting firm that was lost credibility in 2 days? Now, what happened? There was an accounting fraud. And because of that, many governments, and you can see it reached here, it reached the whole world. Anyone have been to the bank? Anyone have been to the bank and they told you, hey, you have those papers you need to sign. Are you an American citizen? Anyone have had this in the bank? You go to the bank and they will ask you, they give you this, they call it KYC form. You have to fill it. This is the regulations because there's an increase accountability and legal accountability, and it becomes a personal legal accountability that by law you have to follow on an individual level. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act says that every manager phone calls should be recorded and your emails can be retrieved in order to check that you did not do any fraud. You see, idea of anyone have heard of مكافحة الفساد? Same idea. You know, those people, when were they established? Somewhere in the 2000s. And this was because there's a big pressure worldwide. We want to fight corruption, and we've got those big companies that were corrupted, and therefore there's an increase. So that established a felony with a stiff prison terms for securities fraud. Political and legal implications for management, it says there's an increased use of legal audits. Not only do we have, you guys remember your accounting? You do audit. Now there is a legal audit. You want to check that everything you do is legal. And there's a review of all operations to pinpoint possible legal liabilities or problems. There is an increased use of an alternative dispute resolutions. Anyone have heard of ADR, alternative dispute resolution? Settling disputes with less costly methods, including arbitration or mediation. Anyone have heard of arbitration? What's arbitration? Tahkim. Anyone have seen it? Actually, now, if you go to many companies, if you read the contracts, in the past, it used to be, in case of dispute, we go to the Yemeni court. Many of the new contracts says, in case of dispute, we go to Markaz al-Yemeni للتحكيم to arbitrate our dispute.
In the Chamber of Commerce.
And maybe in the Chamber of Commerce. So we've got this increasing amount of arbitration and mediation. Next, we've got, now that's the end of this other section, legal. Are you guys okay with this, legal? You know, under the legal, we talked about those two, 3 slides. Talked about reactive, natural, proactive. We talked about financing, lobbying, coalition, and indirect lobbying. And then we talked about this increased accountability and alternative dispute resolution and legal audits. Now, this is the third section of this chapter, which talks about the economic environment. And in the economic environment, we're talking about the job outlook. Today's service economy, where education counts, service providers are expected to generate 14 billion jobs between this time. A solid educational foundation and networking skills are especially important in tough economic times. Are you guys okay with this? Education is becoming more important for the economy. Okay, so you want to look for educated people. Number 2, it talks about.
What does he mean with solid education?
Well, the idea of now, if you look at the economic environment, overall you need highly educated people, right? Now, do you think you can't? Most of the jobs are becoming more sophisticated. If you look at the top 500 companies, you find them maybe half of them are virtual companies. Do you see? So you need it's no longer you need labor. You need more who are specialists.
Qualified.
You see, more qualified people for the job.
Be more efficient.
Well, you need the skills. You know, for a Shaybani today, they don't need just a chef. They need someone to. They have a CCTVs. They need someone to monitor them. They have now an accounting system that's electronic. You need someone to, have the skills to manage this operation. You see. Next, we've got here. You need to cope with the business cycle, the ups and downs, the movement of the economy, ability to generate wealth. So you need to watch out the cycle. We talked about the cycle. It says here predictive structure, but more variable timing. If you think about the cycle, you know it's going to go up after it's down. But the problem is that you don't know when. So the problem is, when are we going to pick up? But you know it's going to pick up. You see? Like many of you, I noticed this a lot in the people who apply here. In your work, there is no work. So you stopped. So what do? You prepare for when it comes back. So you go for education until. So once the business go back up, you already have new skills, so you can have better opportunity. Cycle-sensitive decisions. Timing is everything. Staying ahead of the pack. So you always want to stay ahead of what's going to happen. Benefiting from the economic forecasts. Use of consensus approaches. So you just need to always keep an eye on what's going to come ahead. This is an example of the cycles. You have it goes up, goes down, and then go back up. Now, if you are on the peak here, now there's your inventory. If you're going up, or let's say if you're on the recession, and the economy is going down. Do you want to keep high inventory or low inventory? Low inventory. Do you borrow money or you don't borrow money? You don't borrow money. Anyway, if the economy is going down, you don't want to borrow from anyone, right? But if the market is going to go on an expansion, do you borrow? Yes, you borrow. Because it's expanding. Because you're expanding, so maybe you want to borrow money to buy more fixed assets, expand your business, because you want to be ready for the expansion. Let's say if you have a small pizza place, and now the economy will boost in this area, maybe you want to expand, have 2 ovens now. So maybe you borrow money to expand. Do you see the idea of it's expanding? So yeah, because you're expanding, expecting high demand for your product or service. Capital spending, you spend, you do a lot of capital spending if it's going up or when it's going down. If it's going up, then you need to spend for capital spending. If it's going down, you don't want to invest in capital, maybe. All right. Are you guys okay with this?
Just for capital spending, what's again exactly?
The third topic here is the challenge of a global economy. We've got a single global marketplace. Global trade is causing shift to a single economy. Size of global economy has expanded. Globalization becoming more personal. There's a growing trend. Working for a foreign-owned company. How many people has worked for a foreign-owned company? Anyone? Okay. Meet world standards for quality and cost.
How global trade can cause the shift to single economy?
Because there's so much globalization, we almost live in one economy. For example, let's say the prices of oil, it's an international price. So if there is high demand for oil in China, world price increase. European people don't want oil this year because the weather is the whole world price decrease. So we're almost in the same economy. You see, maybe for oil and gas, these are becoming international commodities. Their prices are international. Maybe if you talk about gold and major commodities, the same thing. And then you start to move into other products. You start to see even some brands. They have an international price. They don't,
Like At Kentucky.
You know, and we've got a lot of products that are very globalized. You know, if you talk about KFC in the whole world, it is becoming like one economy. If the price increases here, it will increase all over the place. Next, we are talking now. Where this is the third section of this chapter, which is the technology. The technology, we're talking about all the tools, ideas available for expanding the natural mental reach for mankind. Technology is facilitating the evolution of the information age. Information has become a valuable strategic resource for gaining competitive advantage. Do you guys agree to this? Anyone disagree with any one of these? Sahara, are you following? Ah, okay. Do you agree with these? Okay.
How come this technology, I mean, include all the tools, but ideas?
Well, it's, you know, there is a lot of ideas that are becoming
here in
competitive
Yemen,
tools.
Ideas in technology, we don't have that much ideas to, for example, organize a new website or something.
We've got some new ideas. It's not that we don't. Let's say if you think about, give me an example of a business.
For example, the website, like,
If you think about CAC you know, CAC they need technology which includes all of the tools and also the ideas. The idea of we pay with an SMS. Do you see? So that becomes an idea, and it is only happening through this technology. Do you see? Many ideas, they are now implemented using technology. If you think about other than the bank, give me another example other than bank. Yeah, if you think about hospitals. Now, hospitals, like all of what they do is, you know, everything is they do with technology. MRI, X-ray, special, you know, technology for testing, you know, human, I don't know, DNA, blood tests. So there's all of these ideas and tools that makes our
shopping.
reach better. Online shopping. What about online shopping?
Give me as example.
Yeah, that's an example. Yeah, online shopping. All right. It talks here about technological environment, the innovation process. The innovation process is a systematic and a practical application of a new idea. And here we've got the steps. How many steps do we have? 1, 2, 3. First, you need to conceptualization. Let's say we're doing this mobile banking. And then product technology, which would be you want to create a working prototype, an example to work. And then you want to do a production technology, and that's when you want to make it that works for everyone. Let's say they wanted to do this new virtual currency, right? So number one, you need to get the idea. How does this virtual currency work? Number two, we have what you want to do a prototype, a test example, how it's going to be used. And then you want to do it production, so it will be available everywhere. What is the best hospital in the country? You know, if this hospital wants to do an innovation, they want to come up with this new product or service, okay? Number one, they need to conceptualize it, make one sample, and then roll it out. That's the idea. What do you guys think? If a Libby Center wants to do a new innovation, what should they do?
Which center?
A Libby Center, Sanaa Trade Center.
Like in a roller coaster?
Yeah, the roller coaster there, get the idea, maybe test it, and then roll it out. Now this is the innovation steps. You want to make sure that you can create it where it works, and then you want to develop it more to be more a profitable process. Next, we've got this innovation lag. What's the innovation lag? Innovation lag starts with a concept, product, and then production. Are you guys okay with this? Next, we've got the innovation lag. The innovation lag is the time it takes for a new product to be translated into a satisfied demand. So, if we want to have a new innovation or a new product, is innovation important for businesses? It's very important, right? If you don't come up with a new product or a new innovation, you basically don't get ahead, right? So you need to keep up. And how do you keep up with new product and new innovation, right? And technology has been the number one leader in these. How can you make this innovation lag, which is the time between you think about it until you make it? You need to set your goal, empower people so people can take decisions. And here it suggests you do concurrent engineering. Concurrent engineering, it means if you want to come up with something new, you can't do it by yourself. You need to have a team. And your team has to come from all different aspects, all functions. Maybe from research, from production, from marketing, get together in order to come up with this new idea that can make a big difference in the operation or business. Now, next we've got this promoting innovation through entrepreneurship. So, what you need to do to come up with new products and new innovation, get intrapreneurs. So those people, employees who will take it as a personal responsibility to push and innovate ideas through the big company. You can't, if you're a manager, you need to have the people who are willing to take a personal challenge and make things new. Do you see? Because these people can make it. And how do you foster it? You need to focus on results, teamwork. That's why we focus on teamwork. Reward innovation, tolerate, learn from mistakes, and remain flexible. Are you guys okay with this? This is the summary of the end of the chapter. So here it talks about the workforce, males and females. Education system has a major problem in all levels. Persistent opportunities, income inequalities. Summary of the chapter talks about managers becoming increasingly politicized. They need to be held responsible for their decisions and actions. Managers can make timely decisions during some unpredictable business cycles. A healthy innovation process is vital for technology development. Organizational climate that foster intrapreneurship can help.
Doctor, what's the meaning of the healthy? Means to be more logical, to be more closer to the truth, right?
To what?
I mean this innovation.
Innovation.
Healthy innovation process.
You want to have healthy innovation process, and you want to come up with new products and services, and you want to maintain that this innovation, it goes through the process to be healthy. People can conceptualize, and then after they get the idea, they make it one that works, and then they continue using it. You want to do that in a timely fashion, so because you don't want to be late to the market. Remember when we talked about الإنشاء والتعمير? If they're late to the market, then what's the value of that innovation? You want to make sure that in your side, your company, you have people who can do it, and you want to give these people power to do it. Okay. These are terms in the chapter to understand. Any questions on these? Which one of these you don't understand?
Maybe it's demographic.
Demographic, which is you look at the society. How many males, how many females, how many people under 15, how many people... Yeah, understanding the demography, the demographics of the society.
Okay, what about glass ceiling?
Glass ceiling is when women cannot reach higher positions. We call this glass ceiling.
Advocacy?
Advocacy, advertising, that's when you go and you hire journalists to say, we don't want this animal fat. Or you hire journalists to say, sales tax cannot be done this way. You see? So you go and you advocate with advertising. Qatar للبترول is the best for, they're trying to advocate that this is the great thing. So all governments, what do you think of gas? Gas is good for the economy. My friend, this is global warming. No, this is gas. It's better than oil. You see? So we basically prepare before.
How to market yourself.
How to make sure that your business will continue. and no one will come and attack you. You see, you always want to be ahead of. Any other questions on these? You guys are good? Legal audit, remember when we talked about audit? Like accounting audit? See, every company, they have to make an annual report at the end of the year. Financial statements. القوائم المالية. Now, those who prepares them? Accountants. But did someone check on them? Yes, we do it in accounting. But now, many businesses, they start to do legal audits. Which basically, at the end of the year, you have signed many contracts. Someone come and check. Are these contracts are good to go or not? So we need to get some audit, maybe internal or from other outside. They come, they make sure that our contracts are all legal to the best practice, and they will be able to succeed next year with with them.
We have right here more Stevens at the street.
Yes. Any other questions on these?
For product technology and production, it's like
Yes, this is the innovation process. Innovation process includes one. This is one of them. Product technology, you get the product, and then production technology, how you make it a lot. Do you see? So you make one, and here you make it on a production line. You make many. Concurrent engineering, you have people from all teams to work together to make a new product. Innovation lag, that's the time it takes you between you make it until you it's available for production. Intrapreneur, these are the people who actually make changes inside the company. So in your company, who is your intrapreneur? Who's one person in your company who always drive new innovation, come up with new products? Do you see? So those people or individuals are called entrepreneurs. Any other questions on these?